Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel for another bike review on this absolutely cracking spring day. And today I'm riding a bike that I haven't ridden for some time. In fact, the last time I rode a Multistrada V4 was back in, I think it was 2023. So today, as you will have seen from the thumbnail, I'm on the 2025 model. It's had a few tweaks since the 2023, most notably things like it's now got a Euro 5 Plus compliant engine, but also they've made a few subtle changes which I'll tell you about, but the most interesting and important one for me is it now has that automatic lowering rear suspension. So if you're vertically challenged like me, this bike is now well within your reach. Anyway, stick around, stay tuned. I'll tell you what I think of it on this, my first ride review. Okay folks, welcome back. My goodness me, it's a busy day in Great Bissenden today and the white vans are out already. Hopefully, on my normal test route, I will be able to lose this somewhat rusty Sprinter ahead of me, so I'll test this beast out. Now, I've always been a fan of Multistrada. I just love the way they look, and I'm just an inherent fan of Ducatis. Isn't everybody? There's just something about them that makes every ride special, and this is no different. It's got that Ducati loveliness about it. Wow, she's eager. Oh, and the brakes are excellent. Anyway, before we get too much into it, let me show you over this beast. So here she is then, the mighty Multistrada V4S, which to my eyes is a mighty handsome machine. I've always loved the look of Multistrada, and this one is no different. It looks absolutely lovely to me. It's pretty much the same as the previous model that I rode, to be honest. There are one or two little tweaks, I think. I think the beak has been changed very slightly here. Might be a little bit shorter, I'm not sure. I know they've done some clever technical changes to the headlight so that it doesn't cast so much shadow, so that may be why the beak perhaps is a little bit smaller. But it does look nice at the front end. Something I do like here is the way they've got these are like plastic sticker type Ducati. I like the way that it's black but raised letters, that looks cool. And yeah, just nice subtle graphics. I think if I was having the bike, I'd go for it in red. You've got to have a Ducati in red, haven't you? But anyway, the black's quite nice. The other thing I like actually on this black one is the red subframe just does stand out quite nicely. But yeah, to my eyes, that is a handsome looking adventure bike. Coming around this side, a couple of other things I wanted to show you. First off, the seat. I like the way they've done this sort of textured finish on it. Very comfy this. And this looks like it should be Alcantara or something. It's not actually, but it's that sort of effect. And then the other thing I like is when you turn the bike on, hopefully it'll detect the key. It does an amazing little graphics dance on here, which never gets old. Let's just show you that. It's warming up. Here we go. Look at that, draws you a little picture of a Multistrada. Lovely. Alrighty, so that's all very cool. Yeah, so of course, matter of personal taste. To me, Multistrada is the best looking of all the adventure bikes, particularly on a day like this when you've got this beautiful blue sky. Look at that, isn't she a beauty? So welcome back aboard, folks, on what is my first ride on this bike. As I mentioned, I have ridden Multistradas before, so it's not entirely new to me, but it's the first time I've been on the latest V4. Let's just take this opportunity. And my word, what a weapon it is. We'll go through the full specs in a minute. But it's 170 brake horsepower, this beast, so there's no lack of go. Multistrada was always kind of known, wasn't it, as the sporty adventure bike, and it still very much is the case on this one. Well, this bike is, oh hello, road ahead closed, look, this could curtail my usual review route. Let's see which road it is, we'll find out in a second. Anyway, we'll carry on regardless. So yeah, first thing, comfort. Well, Multistrada's always been comfortable, and this one is no different. The seat is beautifully padded, the handlebars are nice and wide. It's just a nice place to be. My sort of reference comfort adventure bike is my own GS, and this feels very familiar actually. I would imagine they've, well, let's not say they've copied the riding dimensions, but it feels just like riding a GS, for example. It's quite spacious. I'm a relatively small fella. Hello, more road ahead closed signs. It's telling me something, isn't it? But yeah, I have no problems riding this bike, and if you're bigger, I think you'd have no problems as well, because it is quite a big old beast. And how does she handle lovely through these little twisty sections? Right, what's going on up here? Does it look genuinely closed? Yes, we've got people turning around. Looks like I'm going to have to do the same thing. How annoying. Well, there's a cyclist going for it. What do we think? And a motorcyclist. He's gone through. Come on then, let's do it. They're not actually started work yet. That's tight. Got away with it. Now, do be kind to me. Every time I do that, I get told off that I shouldn't go through road closed signs, so I apologise if that upset you. Anyway, back on my favourite route. Let's go down here to see what the suspension's like. Now this is the V4S I'm on, which is the sort of top spec model. A bit of gravel around here. Let's get into the right gear. And this comes with the Skyhook electronic suspension, which effectively is kind of like an auto levelling function, if you like. But I have to say, up here, nice one, Grandad. The brakes work all right. Up here, which is my favourite suspension testing road, very bumpy and pothole, it's beautifully plush, this. And I've got this set in sport mode, which presumably stiffens up the suspension, but it's very, very nice down here. It just doesn't get out of shape like lesser bikes would, as you'd expect for a bike of this sort of price. We'll go through all the specs later as usual, but once you've specced up one of these, you're looking at, you know, the thick end of 22-24 grand, so it's an expensive bit of kit, no doubt about it. So you'd expect the suspension to be good, and it is good. Feels absolutely lovely down there. Let's just have a squirt down this road. It's a bit nadgery down here, but it's got a few nice twists and turns. Because handling wise, again, this bike is just lovely. It feels light and flickable, which for a big heavy machine is quite a feat, isn't it? Quick shifter works really nice on here, both up and down. And yeah, despite these really bumpy, quite nadgery roads, just keeps everything nicely under control. Beautiful bit of kit. It does encourage you to get a move on as well. Lovely. Right, we beat our cyclist, I'm glad to say. It was a bit light at the front end when you wind her on. It does have anti-wheelie, of course, which I'm glad about. And there's our second white van of the day. Yeah, proper hooligan bike this. If you're coming from a sports bike and you want to go adventure bike, this is the one to go for. What an absolute weapon. Closer. Cracking machine. Right, what are we looking at here then? So we've got a lovely TFT on it. I think this is a 6.5 inch one. I do like this TFT. I think it's actually unchanged from the previous Ducati I rode, previous Multistrada I rode, I should say. And whilst it isn't maybe quite as nice as the BMW GS one, it ain't far off. And it's also pretty intuitive to use, unlike the BMW GS, where you have that little hamburger button to get your heated grips on it. It's all very complicated. I didn't find that intuitive at all. This is pretty straightforward to use. Talking of things like heated grips, heated seats, it does have these on the V4S. And there is actually a dedicated button just here on the right handlebar, which you press, and then it takes you into the heated setting. So I'll demonstrate that in fact just to show what I'm talking about. There we go. You see I've got the grips on low at the moment, and then if you want to turn them up or down, you just use the joystick on the left here to turn them up or down. In fact, I think I'll turn them off because it's quite a nice day today. And then you hold the button to set it. And similarly, if you want to do the seat, you just use the joystick to move across, and you can change the seat settings as well. So it's very, very easy to do that. So that's something I like about this interface on here. It's pretty flipping intuitive actually. You don't need a manual to work out how everything works. All gravel. The switchgear itself, typically Ducati, it's keyless ignition. So on this side you've got your usual kill switch. The start button is there where you'd maybe have a key before. You've got your cruise control here, and it is on here with the radar system. It's adaptive cruise control, also gives you the blind spot monitoring on the mirrors, which is a feature I absolutely love. This bike now basically has everything that I would expect of an adventure bike. It's got the looks, it's got the go, it's got the comfort, and it's got all the facilities I want, as well as that self-lowering suspension. For me, this is kind of peak adventure bike, I think. If I were in the market for one, then I think this would probably be top of my list. So I am enthusing and gushing about it, but I do think it's a lovely machine if you've got the cash for it, and that's the downside. Right, let's go through the specs, shall we, while I try and work out how to lose this Volkswagen ahead of me. Alright, let's start as usual with the engine then. There we go. This is the 1158cc V4 Gran Turismo unit. Puts actually out 167 brake horsepower. I think I said 170 earlier, but 167 if you want to split hairs. And 124 newton meters of torque. And most significantly, it's now Euro 5 Plus compliant. Brakes on the front, we've got these 320mm dual discs and these beautiful 4-pot Brembo calipers. On the rear, a 280mm disc with the 2-pot Brembo caliper. It's also worth mentioning you've got Brembo master cylinders as well on the bike. Suspension wise, on the front you've got 50mm upside down forks together with that Ducati semi-active Skyhook electronic compression and rebound adjustment. It's also got a very clever sensor in the front which sends data to the rear suspension, lets it know what sort of bump to expect. How clever is that? The seat height on the bike, as standard, is 840mm adjustable to 860. There are loads of different seats and options available, so if you are taller, you can get much taller seats. Takes up to 890mm if you need it. Ducati say the wet weight of this bike with no fuel, which is a bizarre way to do it, isn't it, is 232 kilograms in this spec. The standard non-S version is 229 kilograms. Not sure why there's that difference in weight. Fuel tank capacity is now 22 litres. Electronics on the bike, and here's another chance to watch that little animation. You name it, it's got it. It's got this it's basically a very sophisticated bike. 6.5-inch TFT, radar, riding modes, power modes, cornering, ABS and traction, wheelie control, cornering lights, hill hold, cruise control, quick shifter, connectivity. Basically, you have a look at the website for all the details because there's just far too much for me to go through. You name the feature, this bike's probably got it. Something that's not quite so good with the bike is the price of the machine. Now, if you go for the radar equipped model like this is, that comes in at £22,495. If you want to add luggage, then that's £24,025. But again, there's so many options, packs and so on that you can add to it. Check out the Ducati website for full details of pricing. Alright, only other thing to mention, I guess, it comes in 3 colours. This black, white or red. I'll definitely go for the red. Welcome back aboard the mighty Multistrada V4S. Let's just test those brakes. Front brake, man, very good indeed. But more interesting, let's try this rear brake because it is a linked brake. So let's just see. That's very effective actually. Quite nice actually. As a pure road rider, I quite like that. That would be very useful when you're taking your pillion because it means you've got some pretty good braking there without the fork dive that you would associate with a bike of this type. I like that. Might be different if you're a track addict, but then if you're a track addict you probably wouldn't be buying a Multistrada, although I'm sure it would be great fun on a track. It is a very clever bike, this, not only with the abundance of electronics but also some mechanical stuff it does. So it has that clever thing on it where at low speeds, low revs, it only operates 2 cylinders, so it effectively becomes a parallel twin. And because of the firing order of this V4, i.e. they fire the 4 cylinders off in pairs, when it does go down to just 2 cylinders you don't really notice any difference because it effectively, as I say, becomes a parallel twin, and you don't notice the difference between it firing on all 4 and firing on only 2 cylinders. They do that for a couple of reasons. They do it because number one, it saves fuel, and that was one of my criticisms of the older model, the 2023 I rode. It was very, very thirsty. Apparently this has a 6% increase in fuel efficiency, which is good news, and that's partly because of that cylinder deactivation. And also it keeps the engine a little cooler, which is one of the complaints I often have about Ducati, is that they get very hot, whereas that shouldn't be the case on this one, and at the moment it's absolutely fine. Now the previous model did have cylinder deactivation, but I think that only happened when you were at stop at idle, whereas this actually works now when the bike is on the move. So that's a nice new feature, very clever stuff. Yeah, I am a Multistrada fan. Uh-oh. Bother. We're stuck between... Look at that! 3 white vans down there. Do you see that? Incredible. Must be white van season. were to have a criticism, it might just be this screen. I've got it in the up position at the moment, and it is quite noisy, as you might be able to hear through the microphone. In fact, in its low position versus its up position, it doesn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. And as I mentioned, I'm quite a short fellow at 5'8". If you're a tall person, you're always going to be in the airflow. Now, it's not particularly turbulent, it's quite smooth, so that's okay. But if you want to be sat in a so-called bubble of calm, that ain't the screen to do it with. Maybe get one of those little flip-up screens, or I'm sure there must be an aftermarket touring screen or something available. Probably looks better with the screen down, actually, so I might leave it like that. Well, by the way, when I was talking about the switchgear, which I do like, it does feel quality, this is backlit as well, so not many bikes do that these days, so that's good news. I won't bother to demonstrate the radar cruise control, which is exactly the same as others that I've used. You can set the distance behind the vehicle in front you want to stay, and it's just an excellent system. It's one of those things, until you've used it, you didn't realise you needed it, and then once you've had it, you don't like to lose it. So one of the things that the Triumph Tiger 1200 is missing, at least I think it is. So there's definitely an advantage on this bike over that one. I mean, I guess the biggest comparison bike I can do with this is the new GS 1300, which I've got quite a lot of experience of, because when that bike came out I borrowed one for 6 months and rode it a lot. And you know what, between the two bikes, I do prefer this. I prefer the looks of this. The ride is very similar from a comfort point of view. In fact, if anything, this may be a little bit more comfortable, maybe a little bit more roomy, and I think the seat might be a little bit more comfy as well, but that might just be me making that up. It was a while ago when I rode it, but this just seems a bit more logical to me, the way that you use the electronics. The GS I just found was just getting a bit too complicated. The only thing I guess that this does lack that the GS has is low down grunt. Don't get me wrong, this isn't bad at all in low gears, but the GS, obviously, you can be very sloppy with gear changes if you want, because of that big boxer twin. Whereas on this, you're changing gear more often. But then you've got much more go at the top end. Not that the GS is slow anymore, by any means. But this still feels quicker, particularly in sport mode. On a lovely dry day like this, why would you have it in anything else? This is the scourge of riding in the southeast, as I've mentioned many times. You come out for a ride, and okay, you might find a half decent road, not that this is, but you're always going to be stuck in traffic. It's a right flipping nuisance. Alright, so let's summarise my first ride on this bike then. Things I love about this bike. I love the go. It's sporty, fun nature. It feels lightweight and flickable in the turns. The brakes are excellent, and it goes like stink. So stopping and going, absolutely massive tick in the box. Comfort, it's lovely. Now it's got the lowering mode as well. It means I never feel like when I come to a stop, like I'm about to now, or maybe not, that I feel kind of ponderous on my tippy toe. I can now at 5'8" get my feet almost flat on the floor, which gives you a great deal of confidence when you come to a stop, and it's imperceptible it moving up and down when you are going at slow speed. So that's a great thing. The electronics on this, although very, very sophisticated, they're pretty simple and straightforward to use. It's an intuitive bike, which can't be said for every big complicated adventure bike, so that's another massive tick in the box. So basically all the things that are important to me, they've got right on the Multistrada, and it looks fantastic. I think that's obviously a matter of personal taste, but I really love the way this thing looks. Things I don't like about it, well, that windscreen, that might be fixable. It's not the best in terms of protection, and the cost. It is an expensive bike, but then it's on a par with a similarly spec'd GS, so it's not an outrageous cost. But I accept that, you know, by the time you spec it up in V4S guys, and maybe put the luggage on as well, you're going to be looking at the thick end of 24 grand. Without the luggage, it's about 22, as I mentioned. But other than that, there's not really anything I can think that I don't like about the bike. I think I might turn around here, actually. Okay, off-road. Let's go off-road. Gravel, don't you love it? You see, I probably wouldn't have dared do this on the previous Multistrada, because I wouldn't have got my foot down, but I feel completely safe doing this here. Turning circle is fantastic on this, by the way. So there we go, that's my first ride review of the new 2025 Ducati Multistrada V4S. It's a massive thumbs up for me for this bike. This is now my favourite adventure bike on the market, bar none. And if you're interested in this bike, stick around and stay tuned, because I've got it for a little while. Hopefully, if the weather stays as nice as this, I shall be coming out again soon and bringing you some more videos with some more thoughts on this one. I've had a time to sort of, you know, mull it over and think if I've missed anything. But that's it for this time. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Flyer. Cheerio. Actually, I've just thought of something else that it's not that I don't like it about the V4S, but something that could be improved for me, and this is just a personal preference. Given it is a V4, I mentioned that Ducati have given it a firing order so that it acts more like a twin. Makes it feel a bit more grunty, I guess, and gives it that distinctive twin-like sound that Ducatis are known for. But actually, I'd rather like it if it was more four-cylinder-like, because it would make it just a little bit smoother. It's not that it isn't smooth, but there are a few vibes through the pegs and seat. If it was had the same sort of configuration as, say, a Tuono, that V4, I think it would just be a little bit smoother, and it would make it sound even better, I think. So that's something that if I was Mr. Ducati, I would change about the bike. I'd actually make the V4 more four-cylinder like, but I guess that ain't going to happen, it being Ducati. Interested to hear your views on that one in the comments below. Meantime, I'm behind this Defender. I was looking at prices of these Land Rovers the other day, and I don't know about this particular one. This is a 2013 I'm behind, but my goodness me, they're getting expensive. They're what I thought looked like bog standard Land Rovers, and you're looking at 150 grand plus, depending on the model. Who knew? Should have bought a load up 20 years ago when you could pick them up for 5 grand. Anyway, I digress.